We're going live. Silence my phones here. All right. Well, I wanted to go live today. I just put out a video on YouTube walking through how I sold $2 million in residential retail roofs last year as a first year roofing sales rep. I did come in with some experience in marketing and a little bit in sales, but I was able to get pretty good results. And I believe that most of it did not have to do with some type of supreme sales skill or like I'm special or something. It more had to do with the systems and processes and a little bit of sales skill too, for sure. I mean, but it's not all of it. And also some tech as well. And in this live, I wanted to run through some of those things and what I learned in my first 8 months in roof sales, being able to sell 2 million in retail roofs. And from my perspective, there's really five main things that allowed me to, or I guess five main pillars or components that I want to cover. And again, this is in the video, but I'm essentially just gonna do a YouTube video. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, whatever it may be. What's going on? Are we live? Am I just talking into the abyss here? All right. I'm going to share my screen here real quick and I'm going to run you through it. So let me pull this up. Share my screen here. Make myself a little bit smaller. All right. Can I add this to my screen? Am I able to do that? There we go. There we go. That's going to work out just fine, just like that. Sorry, I'm having a little boomer moment here. We're still figuring out StreamYard. All right. Let's get into it. So real quick, a little bit of proof. Okay. Here's me on the left-hand side. A lot of moss on this roof. You know, me and my gear, my little ladder. And then just a screenshot of my project closeouts here. There's a long list of them, but this one I crossed 2 million. So this is within 8 months. Just so you know, I'm not capping here. This is for real. All right. So the primary components of this whole thing and what really allowed me to sell as much as I did in the first 8 months was number one is getting enough leads, getting enough shots at bat. And what I mean by this is if you don't get enough in front of enough people to get better, you're not going to get better very fast. You know, you can do all of the sales training that you want, but the reality is that you get better faster when you have more chances to be in front of actual prospects. So you really need to get in front of as much people as possible and attempt the sale and ask for the sale. Number two is asking the right questions. And that's kind of thrown around a lot, in the sales realm. But I ask questions specifically to extract information out of a prospect that is going to allow me to sell them for their own reasons and not my reasons. It's for them. Sales is always for the person. Um, there's a quote that says, "Sales isn't something you do to somebody; it's something you do for somebody. You're doing it for them." So I ask questions to extract the right information, and I craft questions specifically to do that. Number three is I follow a strict system that I do not deviate from. And I've always done that. And from the very beginning, oh, there we go. From the very beginning, I documented my processes so that I could make it repeatable and I could go back and review my process and tailor it and make it mine and fine tune it as I went through. But I documented my process as I went through. And I think that's really important. But I barely deviated from it, right? Like when I got it down, my process, I didn't change it. And then number four, time management. This is huge. This is something that not enough people discuss. Time management is like once you have the other things figured out, the problem then becomes time management. Because if you're in roof sales and you feel like you're in this chaotic washing machine where you're like doing like 100 things during the day, and by the end of the day you feel like you got nothing done, that's poor time management. That's just what it is. Because if you can't manage your time properly, meaning that if you don't block your time out, time blocking, and this is what like billion-dollar CEOs do, and they've come to this realization: you have to schedule time for the things that actually matter, and you have to identify those things and literally schedule it on your calendar. Literally schedule it on your calendar. Time block. Last one's technology, and we'll run through it. Got to have the right tech. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. And it's getting enough shots at bat and having predictable lead flow. So, for those of you guys who are like going out and hunting, you're door knocking. That's awesome. I think that's a really good way to sharpen your sales skill, and you can close tons of deals that way. For me personally, I'm like a farmer. I like to farm. I like to set it and then let them come to me. I like to grow my crops and then harvest them. Is that cool? Does that make sense? So what I did when I first started is I had a little bit of a background in marketing, and I used that to my advantage. So when I started running Facebook ads for myself. I booked my own leads. I sold them. I ran them. I scheduled them. I ran the job. I closed it out. I did the whole thing. Okay. I could not have got better as fast as I did unless I had consistent appointments booked every single day. I had at the very least one appointment, at the most three. So I was on average like 2 appointments a day for 6 or 7 months. And I would do sometimes 4. Okay. But I would say on average, like 2.5 to 3 appointments if you were to average it all out per day. And that's what allowed me to get faster, quicker. So yeah, here's some like my closing rate, right? here's some proof. Here's me doing the thing. Okay. But once you get the predictable lead flow inbound, and I would really encourage everybody to learn marketing as a skill. Learn marketing as a skill, because once you learn how to run Facebook ads yourself, in which we'll be doing some trainings on this. Once you learn how to do this yourself, it opens up so many other doors for you. It makes you a better salesperson. It makes you locally known, locally, I don't want to say famous, but that's the goal. You become like a local influencer. All right. And so not only that, I was running ads on our social media, our Facebook business page what I was also doing was I was posting on my page that I created as a independent sales rep. It's called Jacob Roofs. And I would book appointments through that because I would post videos, I'd post reels, and it all had to do with what the homeowners were thinking about, what they were worried about. I'd be up on a roof, I'd make a video, I'd post it. And the more you do that, the more people warm up to you. And the more sales you ultimately make because you build trust through social media before you even get there. This is why people, when they see me, they're like, oh, I saw you online. Oh, you're the guy from the video. Oh, you're the guy from Facebook. Every time I go to a sale, you're the guy from Facebook. Yep, I'm the guy from Facebook. And that helps tremendously with the sale. All right. So book the leads in quick, 5 minutes. You guys know the drill. 5 minutes, call them up. Hey, this is Jacob with SRS Roofing. I just saw you filled out your information. I wanted to call and see how I can help. All right. Just hit them with that. Let them tell you what's going on. Follow-up game's got to be on point. Social media is your greatest tool, though, in my opinion. Google is very important, yes. Social media is fire. All right. Number 2, asking the right questions. What do I mean by this? There's info we want to extract. There are certain things that we want to know from our customers, from our prospects. Sometimes we can't just ask them straight up questions. We got to ask them more strategic, well-crafted questions to extract the right information out so that we can sell them the right way, right? Number like this, how urgent is it for you to get your roof done? Now you can say that, that's fine, but it's a little abrasive. It's a little sharp, a sharp question. I like to round the edges of my question and make it more easy to, more palatable question. How long has that issue been going on for? Oh, a couple years. Oh, a couple years. Geez. So you've known about it for a long time. Have you explored fixing it in the past? Yeah, I had some roofers come out to take a look at it and patch it, but it just keeps happening. So it sounds like it might be time to actually maybe start the roof replacement, start the project. Yeah, I was thinking it's definitely going to have to be this year. Now you've dialed in their urgency. You have to understand where their head's at and how urgent it is for the project to get done. Okay. Another one I love to ask is have you had anybody come out to take a look at it just yet? So you're gauging competition. You might be the first person to show up. You might be the third, right? There's a strategic value to each of those positions. And you can kind of preemptively sell them a different way, depending on how many people have already been there, how many quotes they got. All right. So you want to figure out who you're competing with. And I just ask, have you had anybody else come out to take a look at it just yet? Another one is so I like to price condition customers. And one way that I do that is I ask them questions on quality of contractor they're looking for, what they're really looking for, what their criteria is, and also if they have done any research on roof products, okay, and the differences in longevity and the quality and what those actually do for you. Because I will let them know, like, hey, look, not all roofing products are made the same, and there's a reason why some are cheaper than others. Typically, where people beat us is in price, and usually the price difference comes from the difference in the cost of the materials, which means that they're using cheaper materials. Okay. And for us, we're a quality contractor and we use higher quality materials. So we're not going to be the cheap contractor, but what we are going to be is the best value for the price. Best value for the price. All right. So I want to sort of begin to price condition them, because when it gets to the sale, when I get to the end, when I hit them with the cost, it's not a big surprise and they're already mentally preparing themselves. And then let's say they decide to think on it and I can't get around that objection. Well, now when they go and look at the other estimates, they're going to be thinking cheap equals worse, cheaper equals worse. So there's an advantage to being the middle person or the most expensive, depending on the scenario. But the way I sell and the way I get them to think about quality and longevity, you don't want to be the cheap guy because they're not going to pick you. Okay. If I'm there, they're not going to pick you if you're the cheap guy. They're not going to buy on price because of these questions that I ask and how I explain that. And then I want to ask them questions about what their goals are with the house, because that's going to tell me how they're going to buy, right? Like what they're thinking about when buying. Are they 65 and it's going to be the last roof they ever buy? If so, I might want to give them a little bit more, a stronger warranty, better shingles, thicker shingles, something that's going to last them longer versus, just the basic package. If they're a homeowner living out in the sticks and they just want to slap a roof on it because they're going to sell the house in a month, I'm just going to give them the basic stuff. All right. I'm going to start high, but I can almost guarantee they're going to pick the basic stuff. And so I might lean a little bit more toward that, but regardless, we want to, this whole thing is we want to ask the right questions. And what I mean by right questions is the questions that allow you to extract the right information out of the prospect so that you can learn how to sell them better. And you can craft these questions in a way, every word counts. So if you craft your own questions, you can ask them in a way that really allows you to get the information that you need. Okay. And then also, don't forget, ask for the sale. Ask for the sale. Ask for the sale at the end. A lot of you guys are just like, all right, what do you think? Does it look good? And then they're like, yeah, it looks good. And you're like, it's like, okay, now ask for the sale. Ask for the sale. You have to ask them when they'd like to get started, right? And then I'll let them give you an objection. But is there any reason you wouldn't want to get started? Any reason you wouldn't be looking to get started within the next couple of weeks? And give them the iPad and scroll all the way down and let them sign it. Let them look at it. Let them hold the iPad. All right. And just assume that they're going to buy, because if you just assume they're going to buy, if you're in that mental state, like, yeah, of course. There's an objection. Oh, okay. Let's handle it. But like, always just assume, be like, yeah, of course. When would you like to get started? Oh, okay. Just assume the sale, because and you could do it in a way that's not cocky. You know what I mean? All right, moving on. Following a system that I barely deviated from. All right. This is really important. So, like I said early on, I established my process, the way I did things. And what it allowed me to do is make my sales more cookie cutter. I wasn't winging it. I established my system, the way I operated, how I answered the phone, and how I booked my appointments, what I told the people that was going to happen would actually happen. I showed up. I operated the same way that I told them I was going to. I showed up. I knocked on their door. I chatted with them. I reviewed everything. Then I got up on the roof. I took my photos. Then I came inside with my gear, my stuff. I went up in the attic and I looked. I took photos in the attic. And then I came down and we sat at the table and I walked them through everything. And then I sell them. Okay. It's the same thing. There's a lot more detail to that. That's kind of just a basic overview. But I created this process map because this is what really allowed me to get it all out of my head and put it onto a visual whiteboard. And so how this works is on the x-axis up here, it's a timeline. It's a linear timeline from when you get a lead all the way to when you close out the project, and the different roles inside of our business and the tasks that happen at each of these stages. Okay. So I call this like a time task matrix. If somebody else has a better name for it, let me know. But this is a time task matrix over the course of the whole project. This is your customer journey. And in the early days, it was just me. I was answering the calls. I was booking my appointments. Now we have a team that helps us do it. We have a call center, a little call center that we use for the franchisees that we onboard. We give them access to our call center so that all their inbound calls are answered. And then we also give them a business manager who helps manage all their finances and their expenses. It's pretty amazing. So that all they have to do is focus on sales and operations. That's it. All right. So I'll run you through this real quick. And again, if you're a one-man show, this is something that you can do yourself, and it's no big deal. But eventually, of course, you need to hire a team, right? Because it's really the only way to start delegating. So new lead. Okay, we're going to answer and qualify. Then we're going to book the appointment for that. We call them CSPs, customer sales partners. And then I always order roof measurements right then and there. So after I book somebody in and they're a viable lead, I think I'm going to sell them a roof. I order roof measurements. I create the estimate. Okay, this is all before we attend the sales appointment. I create the estimate pretty much like 80 to 90% of the way there before I show up. And I do this all through ProLine, of course. Excuse me. I attend the sales appointment. I inspect the roof. Here's our little training video here. By the way, these are all training videos for the franchisees only. By the way, if you are I got to plug real quick. If you are in the roofing industry, if you're a production manager, a salesperson, a sales manager, even if you're an owner and you just started your business and you're wanting better systems, or you're looking to start a business with the right systems and hit the ground running with pre-proven systems for marketing, sales, operations, and finances that have allowed us to grow to a multi-7-figure location, profitable location, click the button in the description, or click the link in the description rather. You can apply to become a franchisee and open a location. We're opening up locations all over the United States. It's a high earning, high income, low overhead. We give you the playbook, the whole thing on how to run your own marketing, sales, everything. Okay. So continuing on. All right. So I attend sales appointment. I inspect the roof. I present. I attempt to close. I sell the job. I collect the deposit. I schedule the job. I create the materials, or I create the material order and send it to the supplier. And then I also create the work order. All right. And then I wait for the project day to start. I'm updating the customer as this goes on. And then on the project day, I'm going to check on the materials to make sure they're all there. The project gets completed. I do my final quality inspection. I like to schedule this on the ending day of the project, because it allows me to ask for a review from the customer, make sure the roof is completely done. There's nothing else that needs to be done, and do my final quality inspection to make sure everything is up to par and up to manufacturer spec. Then after that, I'm going to cost my job, materials, labor, dump, warranty, everything. I submit my job closeout form, and then I attend a meeting where I get paid out for that job. Okay, so this is my process. There's a lot more to it. This is the overview, but that's how it is. I'm sure this is very similar to a lot of what you guys do, but the more that you can document this stuff for yourself and your team, the better off your team is going to be, because this is training. This is training material. And so I can give this to somebody and with these videos in here, and they can understand this entirely. And it's really important that if you're not doing this, you're not building some type of SOPs, that you have something like that. All right. So I told you, one of the biggest killers, one of the biggest needle movers, one of the biggest ways to be a successful roofing sales rep is to manage your time properly. You will not get anywhere if you nail the first 3 things. You got your lead flow, you got your sales dialed in, your sales skill dialed in. If you're not managing your time properly, you're going to crash and burn. You're going to be in chaos. You're going to feel like there's too much stuff going on. I can't do all this. And your sales are really going to suffer. And the only way to combat this is by bucketing your time into the most important blocks that you can. Okay. And for me, these are those blocks. These are those buckets. Number 1 is production. Number 2 is job costing. Number 3 is marketing and pipeline push. Number 4 is sales. All right. So what do these mean? Production is I need to be there in case production needs me. And they call me, they say, hey, we need this material. Perfect. I'll send that. Go get it. Will call it from the supplier. Boom. And then I'm going to pay them to go pick that up. Okay. This is like ordering materials, sending work orders, and scheduling crews. This is your operations push. This is your operations focus in the morning, because this is when your guys need you. It's for me. Job costing and closeouts is the red. This is where you're collecting and entering invoices, adding expenses to projects, processing payments. This is where a lot of guys kind of like forget. They have to collect their invoices. They have to manage, unless you have a person who manages this stuff aside from your reps. For me as a rep, I want to know what my profitability is on each job, my actual profitability. And that's where I do this. So I'm collecting my invoices from my sub, my supplier, my dump, and I'm costing it to the job, and I'm figuring out how much money did the job make? How much profit did the job make? Okay. We have marketing and pipeline push. Okay. Let me just scroll over here and sales appointment and final inspections. This is how I run it. Okay. You can see here Monday, production in the morning, Monday through Friday, production 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning. This is where I'm pushing jobs through, operationally pushing jobs through, getting people scheduled, getting work orders sent out, getting material orders sent out. Number 2, costing and closeouts. This can probably be around 30 minutes, maybe an hour if you're really, really busy and slammed. Marketing and pipeline from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I am doing marketing activities. I might be out door knocking. I'm making videos. I'm pushing myself and making myself more well-known in the community. Okay. Then finally, sales appointments and final inspections, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. This is the money-making time. Okay, that's why it's green. And on Saturday, it's all day. Sunday, I take a day off. But maybe you could be all green this day too. But I work from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. This is my schedule. All right. And this is how I organize my time. Okay. This is how I organize my time in my week so that I can maximize my sales. Otherwise, what ends up happening is you have a bunch of tasks building up in a certain area, and you just never block out your time on your calendar to actually take those tasks and get them completed. And so literally, if you look at my calendar when I was doing sales, I would have these times blocked off, and I would need to shut off my phone on certain times. I would go put it away, put it on silent, because I had to focus. And this is really a focus, a way to focus on the things that you need to do in order to get them done, so that you don't feel everything is being chaotic, so you can make more sales. Okay. This is huge. Time management is one of those things that just, if you don't get a wrangle on it, it runs away from you. All right. And the last one is technology. So you might recognize some of these icons on here, like high level, like Zapier, like Proline. So the technology stack that we use allows us to significantly increase the speed in which we make sales. It eliminates a lot of those automated or those manual tasks that you can automate, like Proline, for example. Let me run through it here. High level, we use our front end call center. Okay. Zapier is the glue that connects all of these apps together. Proline is our CRM. This is the heavy hitter. This is the one that does the heavy lifting for us. All right. I know a lot of you guys might use JobNimbus, AccuLynx, what else? Roofer, Service Titan, whatever it is that you're using. I've seen them. I've been in all of them. This one's the best. Okay. Proline is super customizable. It's like High Level, but for roofers. If you know what High Level is, it's a marketing platform. Proline does all of it. It also has the most robust reporting, which if you're into reporting and understanding what your business metrics are, which hopefully you are, it's truly the best. So anyways, Somebody calls in, we have a call center, it gets put into Proline. The crew manages it from there. And then at the end, they get closed out through Mercury and QuickBooks. We use online banking through Mercury. It's super simple. One of our franchisees actually put us onto Mercury. But yeah, so this is the stack. We also use Roof Scope. Okay. You might use whatever Eagle View or Hover, but Roof Scope, it pulls all those measurements right into Proline and it populates all of our roof measurement tokens. I press create quote. It just generates me the entire quote. It's sick. And I'm never going back. So, all right. But really, guys, these are the primary things that really allowed me to sell $2 million in my first year in roof sales. And I think if I went back, if I did it again, I would definitely be able to sell 3, because if I would have done it for 4 more months, yeah, I mean, even last year, if I would have sold for the last 4 months, I bet you I would have hit 3, but I bet you I could do 3.5. I bet you I could do 3.5 if I locked in. Now, what I know and the tech stack we have and the processes we've installed, it's pretty sweet. And so my question to you is, what have you sold and what would $3 million look like with whatever commission split you're looking at, huh? Also, think about this. If you own the business, and this is for those of you who might be open to exploring a potential franchise opportunity, we are opening up locations all over the United States right now. And in fact, if you're in Snohomish County, this is for you. If you're in Snohomish County, we're looking for a candidate right now. And Snohomish County is going to be a big one in Washington State. But regardless of what state you're in, we are opening up locations in your state, and we will be. And we're going to be the biggest roofing franchise. There's no question. And it's because of the way we have it structured and the support we give and the team members we actually install into your business, and how we take the systems and the principles that we've been able to grow this location and we install it into your location. And so that's something you are interested in. There's a link below where you can apply. Otherwise, hit me with the follow, because we're going to be doing more live streams like this where I walk you through the marketing, sales, operations, finances, things that really make your business tick, that can make or break. As you know, 60% of roofing companies fail after 5 years, and majority of them are not profitable because you're buying Rolexes, you're buying big trucks. All of a sudden at the end of the year, you get hit with a tax bill and you're like, well, now I owe back taxes. You know, you don't want to run into that. So these are all things that we teach, we go over, and what really makes your business function and tick. So if you'd like to apply to a franchise, click the link in the description. It's applysrs.com. Applysrs.com. I'll actually put a banner up here. All right. Go to applysrs.com if you'd like to inquire about the franchise. I'm going to be doing a webinar every Friday where I break down the exact systems and go a little bit more in depth about how we actually operate our location, our multi 7-figure location. And I explain how the franchise works. And it's one of the greatest opportunities today, truly. So go check that out. Otherwise, stay for the free content. Hit me with the follow, and I will see you on the next live stream.